There is a static, elitist, heteronormative, racist and hegemonic conception that is given to space. All the city has been commodified. Space is designed in order to exert control over its users. The world is moving faster and faster towards a state of global capitalism, meaning that corporations and institutions are playing an ever-increasing and more important role within our lives. We live under an extreme neoliberal model in which societies have been understood as exclusive devices to increase the market value of the private property. The real estate market that serves as the foundation for the production of disciplinary discourse is unsustainable. We have everything we need, it's just very badly distributed. This holds all the keys to ecological sustainability, redressing economic inequality, and creating inclusive democratic societies. For over a century, the social and political experiments in different territories undermined the Western notion of the city as a civic space in which the rights of the citizens are recognized. We are living a crisis of political representation that has a clear reflection on the contemporary production of images. In this political arena, the word participation was quite often used as a tool for political legitimization. We're witnessing the consolidation of a post-political scenario, a culture of spectacle that leads to a dramatic crisis of meaning and criticality in disciplinary representation and communication. The information is totally controlled by monopolies, and they convey a conception of the world that has to do with individual salvation. The idea of the entrepreneur, the person who is worth by himself and that everything he has does it for his work. So he loses all the ideas of collective and community work along the way. So, how do we influence communication? The crisis has accelerated the process of awareness of the social responsibilities involved. Communities around the world are mobilized against the consequences and inequities of the neoliberal system. The social movement in Chile, Indignados in Spain, Umbrella movement in Hong Kong, Sinteco movement in Brazil and Nuit Dubat in France are just the tip of the iceberg of our reaction against many inconsistencies of our model of development, administration of wealth and lifestyles. This idea of coexistence in a way is trying to figure out how democracy is about conflict. What concerns us is how we can make the world in which we live the juster one. This is not a rhetorical project. We are surrounded by projects of racism, inequality, of concentrating control and power in very few hands. This is not even a thing that is hidden from us. Many people say the world is fatal, but instead of fixing it, I will leave this disaster well off. In a state of planetary civil war, environmental annihilation and perpetual economic crisis, we believe that it is a crisis of the imagination that is perpetuating our schizophrenic march towards extinction. We need something to help us to decolonize the mind.
We understand that the field of action, like a force field, is connected with the crisis of modernity and advanced capitalism, where socio-spatial and environmental problems are mobilizing actors who previously did not participate in the public debate. As cultural workers, the field of action is a space of uncertain and mobile boundaries, from which its undefined edges contract or expand in direct relation to the context. This means that it is a context-specific, audience-specific and resource-specific practice that begins from the identification of a weakness or virtue, opportunity of a certain context, community or territory. Through actions for the dispute of alternative rights and conditions of habitability, we propose not only a specific and concrete transformation of the habitable environment, but also that these changes function as prefigurations of possible alternative futures to the existing hegemony. we shared an impetus for questioning, for searching for alternative systems in the forms of production. So it takes the form of thought in pursuit of a radical questioning of the power relations. The real concern lies in a critical reading of the reality we live under. For that place we wonder how to generate critical reflections. There is a willingness to align our practice with common sense and the reinforcement of the collective dimension in our work, so we could say that the field is a collective and collaborative workspace. A kind of trench in the first line of battle, difficult to classify in categories, since it operates through opportunities. For there it is from where we are most comfortable producing criticism of the socio-political model, and from where we have positioned a way of doing and being in the world. Its limits are diffuse, navigating between many things simultaneously. What we are trying to understand is how from our disciplines we can move from theory to action, or vice versa, in a rather reflective and critical way. Our practice conceives conflict as an inherent aspect of space and focuses on how actions, objects, and environments embody and enact power dynamics. So the practice is critical and has spatial conditions, are non-conforming actions that take place in the physical realm either as a concrete action and/or as speculations. They not necessarily involved an artistic or architectural action, but it does imply political subversion as it disputes the cultural and economic constraints of what's possible.
If we understood what exists from observing how hybrid entities are and what relationships they establish among themselves, we would end up describing the operation of the whole as a network. These networks, which in many cases are located territorially and articulated around common controversies or conflicts, do not respond to the logic of the field. They are hybrid between material entities and social links. They are multi-scalar. They cannot be delimited in the area of the territory. Even if they are located, they will be near or far depending on the strength of their links. They are in constant transformation, they vary and complete as they function as a complex system. We like to think of the practice as different mediation methodologies between discrepant or conflicting points, with the ability to foster dialogues, agreements, and with the virtue of materializing spaces, physical or digital ones, where we can learn to live in community from new understandings of the reality and its possibilities.
Our practice, for better and for worse, overflows those most identifiable action containers given their institutional character and extends to leisure spaces, to late conversations and morning coffees. Our practice implies political performativity that cannot be encapsulated in workspaces and schedules. It is a game that welcomes the unproductive, the absurd, unexpected encounters and negativity in general to be part of the creative process. We are interested in transversal tools and practices. We are interested in the multiple, the indefinite and the projective in that sense. This field is expanded in two other kingdoms, so it is constantly changing and questioning. It is precisely in its expansion that all its richness resides.